Welcome back to the NoStoppingKev podcast, where we talk all things basketball, as well as the intersection between life and basketball from time to time. I'm your host, Kevin Beeford Jr., aka NoStoppingKev, and I'm here with my co-host, my father, the one and only, the Philly legend, Kevin Beeford Sr. What's up, Dad?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Man, I'm great. And before we get started, remember, in addition to us dropping dope podcast episodes every Thursday, we also have great content on our Instagram page at the No Stopping Kev Show. Dad, before we get into things today, you've been seeing a drama in LA. It's not really drama. I'm spicing it. But you know, LeBron's been out. You know, they got Russ coming off the bench. Even with LeBron out, they still got Russ coming off the bench.
Well, it's working for him, right?
No, they still losing.
Well, I mean,
it's working for Russ.
It's working for Russ. That's
but
what I'm saying.
But they not winning games. So here, right? Part of the reason to move Russ to the bench, to let him run the second unit, blah 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 blah. Him and LeBron couldn't play together, right? So when LeBron not playing, why not insert him? They got guys that will pit up a goose egg starting over Russ.
But you know what? You still bringing some with Russ playing with the second team more, so you know he's still feeling it.
Who bringing it with the first team though? Who bringing it with the first team?
Well, that's Anthony Davis' job.
It's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah, he might need to. If I was doing my job the way Anthony Davis does his job, I'd probably be unemployed.
But you know, another thing is you gotta look at too. What they got out there. What LA got out there right now too.
I'll tell you one thing. Russ has had similar starts, like back in his OKC run with bad teams, and he's willed those teams to the playoffs. And I got another stat for you. Saw it this morning. Russ is actually shooting better from three than Klay Thompson this season. Ain't nobody talking about that. But I'm excited for our topic today. We're talking about the best duos of all time. Or who is the best duo of all time, rather. You know, you think of a lot of great duos that have come in the NBA. You know, you got Scotty and Mike, Shaq and Kobe, Bird, Kel, Parker Duncan, Zeke Dumars, Jerry West and Wilt, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Bron and Wade, Steph and Klay. I'll even throw Dame and CJ in there, Stockton Malone. And then, you know, for the legends of basketball, Bill Russell and Bob Cousy. So it's been a lot of great duos in this game. So many that I didn't, you know, it's impossible to name them all.
But I think you missed one important one.
Who? Ben Simmons and Embiid?
No.
Harden and Embiid?
No.
Allen Iverson and AI?
No. Think of who won the championship in this city.
Oh, so you're talking about Dr. J. Malone?
That's it.
All right, there we go. That's on.
Even though it was a short run.
Yeah.
You know, they were like that.
Thank you for that addition.
But we can't leave them out.
But Dad, I gotta ask you. To you, who is the best duo of all time?
Mine is Magic and Kareem.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh, you had to see that coming.
No, I thought you would have said MJ and Scotty.
No.
I just knew you was coming with that. Those are the 6 championships.
No.
They would have won 8 straight. I thought you was coming with that.
No. You know why? Still, I still wouldn't put them there. I mean, they were good together, but I'm not saying they was a great duo as Magic and Kareem.
Mm-hmm.
See, you put two great players together that came through high school on their own and met up later. You know, you got them winning championships from high school, college, and then when Magic first came into the NBA, at what did he do? 2 years, 2 years after his sophomore year, he won a championship. Not just won a championship, walked away with the MVP. So you putting two of the greatest players ever, two GOAT people, named that to be GOATs.
Hey, great point. I'm glad, because anyone that says Scotty and Mike, you know what I'm going to say to them, right?
What's that?
Scotty was nothing without Mike.
That's
Like,
my point.
you got Mike carry anybody. Mike would have, if
Point.
Scotty wasn't there, people would be like, Mike and Rodman, Mike and Paxton, Mike and, it didn't matter who was there. You put a guy like Ron Artest there, sure. Scotty did a lot of great things, right? He can play defense, handle the ball. But, you pair me with Mike right now. Or no, Mike back in the day, you take me right now. They're going to be saying MJ and KB, right? It's...
Yeah, and I'm glad that you really said that too, because like for a duel, I would have them way down the list.
Way down the list.
Way down the list.
Wow.
Yeah, way down the list.
Wow.
Because one of the main reasons that you said, Scotty wasn't really anything without Mike. Now I'm gonna say Scotty. We're gonna say that he was a all-star. We're gonna say he was an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm gonna leave it at that, because some Scotty fans might really get on me after I say that. But
who? Yeah, I guess there are people like that exist, that are Scotty diehards.
Definitely.
But I gotta tell you that you surprised me with Magic and Kareem, and I think that's a really great answer. Phenomenal. But I still don't think they're the best duo of all time. You were close. You had the right franchise. Maybe just the wrong era. Maybe you were just too grounded in your time. Because I gotta tell you, the greatest duo of all time is none other than Shaq and Kobe. Two dominant guys that I think, even if they had to come up against Magic and Kareem, I'm not going to say it would be a sweep situation, but I'm just saying they might sweep them like gentlemen. You read between the lines on that. But I got to say, Kobe and Shaq have to be the best duo of all time, hands down.
No, they was my number two.
Okay.
They are my number two. And like what you say is, they still dominant. But you know what? It took them time to gel. And Kobe had to take a little time, because even him coming in the league young. So it
took him 4 years.
Okay. How long did Kareem,
Lakers had a team, man. They had Kareem, man.
Hold up.
They had a squad, man.
Hold up now. Let's look at this a little bit.
Okay.
Kareem came to the Lakers in like 75. When did they win the championship?
Their first one.
79.
Yeah, and when Magic got there, it was 79-80 season, right? So it was like 80?
No. It was 79-80.
Yeah.
79-80, because he came out 78-79.
But Kareem also won in 71.
He won with Milwaukee, with the Big O.
He won with the Bucks in 71.
Right, the Big O.
But I'll get to that Laker team in a sec.
But before you go there,
sure.
Only thing that I'm saying, when they became a duel, they didn't win it the year before. I don't even think they came close to winning the championship.
Who you talking about?
I'm talking about the Lakers.
You talking about your guys?
Yeah.
All right, so what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, when
you saying Magic put him over the top.
Yeah. You don't say that?
Yeah, because Kareem, how far were those Laker teams going with Kareem? Can you remember or no?
I don't really remember. I don't really remember how they went. I know watching them.
I can tell you in 72.
No,
73, they won conference titles in those years. So they was pretty good early on with Kareem. They couldn't get over the hump with him.
Kareem didn't come to L.A. till 75. So looking at 72, we got to look at 75.
Ah, man. Am I getting my years mixed up?
Well, I think...
Yeah, you're right, 75. So, man, Dad, it's not looking good for Kareem.
What you mean it's not looking good for Kareem?
Because, man, as good as dominant as the Skyhook was, he couldn't get over the top.
So, When Shaq and Kobe was put together at first, did they get over the top?
Took him a couple years.
Oh,
Took him a couple years.
but once Magic came as a duel, we talking about duels now. We ain't say now we ain't talking about the individual. We talking about them as a duel and what they did as a duel together.
Well, I'll tell you, my duo was able to pull off a three-peat. How many teams have ever done that in NBA? All the while, Shaq was averaging 29-9 in the playoffs, or 29.9 points in the playoffs, excuse me, 14.5 rebounds. Kobe was dropping 25 a game in the playoffs. Like, come on now. Three-peat? Like, it's one thing to win 3 championships or 5 over a span of like a decade, right? But to win, to complete the trifecta, and think about it. You know, everybody talks about how, you know, shifting over to the Bulls, how, Mike would have won 8 straight, right? Just imagine if Kobe and Shaq, you know, maybe the egos didn't collide. Maybe they didn't have the off-the-court stuff that kind of created the storm and the distraction over there in L.A. They might have actually been a team to win 6 straight. Nobody talks about that.
See, you know what? I love when you do that. And I love when you go there. See, yes, they did three-peat. We can't take that three-peat away. But do you think the league... Look who Magic and Kareem had to go against.
You love saying it. It's like you always think...
But you got to look at that.
The league is better now than it was back then.
Come on, Kevin.
Like, there's more talent in the NBA.
Come on, Kevin.
I'm here.
You know what? Okay. See, this is another thing that we're gonna have to look at. This is another thing, and like this is something good for another day. Take the top 75 players.
That list is bull crap. That's politics. It's guys that shouldn't. Dolph Shays. Who that?
All right.
Who that?
Okay.
Who that?
You might have some of them there, but some of them at that time was good. I'm not saying
at that. So I'm saying you can't. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I apologize.
Is that name still on the top 75?
They ain't take nobody off. They had people roll over. You got grandfathered in if you were top 50. But you know new guys come that are better than those guys. And they got Anthony Davis on that list. Come on, that's how you know that list is trash.
Well, Anthony Davis up to a certain point, or like
Never. You put me on a team by myself back when I was young, and you let me take 50 shots. I'm gonna put up numbers too.
But you know what though? Take some of the players today. They can't move them out. They can't move them out.
They can't move who? I mean, they need to rebuild. Somebody else needs to take the same committee.
But what I'm saying is, you got some of these players that from what we talking about in the time when Magic and them played, they were top 50. They rolled over into the top 75, and you don't think they deserve to?
I'm saying guys like Magic, yes. But there's names on that list that there's guys playing today that are better than those guys, than some of the guys on that top 75 list.
But they got to make it into it now.
I'm saying when they do this list, they should, let's put it this way. When they do the top 100 list, right? They should take the top 75, wipe it. So, start with a blank slate.
Let me ask you a question.
And now some of those guys that were on there, you on the chopping block.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think John Morant should be a top 75 now?
Right now, no. But is he better than some of the guys on that list? Hell yes. Guaranteed.
Who he better than?
My man.
Who he better than?
I can pull up the list, but okay. I'm going to assume Bob Cousy on that list. John Morant. I'm gonna keep it PG, y'all. No. John Morant giving Bob Cousy buckets.
I can understand that, and I can.
He giving Stockton buckets.
But what I'm saying is, look what they achieved and how long they achieved what they did for. John Morant, you know what? We can't take nothing away from John Morant, and he probably gonna be there. He gonna be on that next list. But right today, he can't move them off today. Some of them
today.
Some of them players in the league that you talk about, like we think Embiid gonna be there. By the way, my MVP for this year.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, we know that he's gonna make the top 100.
Yeah, you hope so.
He's gonna make it.
You hope so.
He's gonna make it.
because the way they be politicking. But back to just to carry on my last point. Yo, Dad, in the finals, right? O'Neal just on the average of the three-peat run in the finals, he was averaging 36 and 15. There is no other player in the history of the NBA that was as dominant or comes close to the dominance of Shaq on the floor. No one. And I got something else for you, right? You talk about pitting two great guys together. We talk about, the Bulls are low on your list because Scottie was a nobody. I got to say this. Out of the four guys between our two duos, Kobe, Shaq, Magic, and Kareem, I'll say really only one guy has won with nobodies. I'm going to say he has some good nobodies, but only one guy has won without another, first ballot Hall of Famer, and that's Kobe Bryant.
What? Say it again?
Kobe
is what?
Is the only one out of the four to have won an NBA championship without another superstar.
Hold up now. I think they considered what was the second?
Don't say Gasol.
Yeah.
Don't say Gasol's not a superstar.
He was an all-star.
All-star and superstar are two different things.
Okay. So now, like you saying, we were talking about Mike and Scottie.
Right.
Scottie is really just an all-star, right?
Sure.
He's not so
I'm saying that can elevate Mike. I wouldn't have them way down on my list for that reason. I might have Mike and Scottie. They top 5 for sure. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. And look, I'm gonna do you one better. Dad. Your Showtime Lakers, they even had another Hall of Famer. James Worthy. Y'all had James Worthy, Dad. Who did Shaq and Kobe have? Derek Fisher. Don't give me Robert Horry. Rick Fox. Brian Shaw.
They had a good team. But let me go back. Let me go back and say this again. James Worthy, we don't know how great James Worthy would have been. We know James Worthy was good. But we had the king of Showtime. The king of Showtime. Who made Showtime? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the greatest point guard ever. So when you talk about that, he elevated people's game. Elevated everybody on that team game. He made basketball fun. He the one that saved the NBA. Along with Kareem. He raised Kareem level up. Like that's what I was saying. When Kareem was at the Lakers, they wasn't going to win a championship. They wasn't going to be great. But we also got to look at the competition like Boston, who they had they won one year. Boston won one year. You had Detroit coming there. You had powerhouse teams. Okay, when you're three-peat.
How many powerhouse teams were there really back then?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Because every time I look at the late 80s, 90s, I only ever hear about 3 teams. Lakers, Celtics, and it was those Pistons.
Okay.
But you talk about, look at who they had to go against. It was 3 teams.
Okay.
3 teams.
I know.
3 teams.
I think the Sixers won in that thing too.
In the 80s?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
But every team had these winners, but you make it seem like it was a toss up every year. It was teams winning. You said Boston won one year, LA won one year, Boston, LA, Philly, like.
Okay, let's go back to the second duel right quick, since I can get this in. Who else was their competition? Who was the Lakers' competition in that era when they three-peated?
Yo, teams were tough back then. Teams were tough. And the only reason they were able to steamroll folks were because that they were so dominant. But in the early 2000s, you had Sacramento.
Let me take this off because I don't think I'm hearing you right. What other team was dominant?
Man, listen, the Lakers were dominant. I got you. I'm gonna tell you who they were running against. I'm gonna tell you. But you had Indiana was tough back then. Yeah. Yes, Reggie Miller.
What did Indiana win?
They ran up against the Lakers.
What did they won?
They got beat.
Okay.
They got beat.
Okay then.
But I got you.
you had a lot of teams that you could say tough, but we talking about Boston won championships. We talking about Detroit won championships. And Detroit almost three-peated in that era.
Yeah, with that's one of the three teams back then. That
Okay.
Give me a fourth.
But we got Boston. We got Bird who won. Bird and McHale won what? 3 championships together. And that thing. Now, yeah, like when you look at the Lakers and they won at 3, who else did you have?
So look in that 2000 NBA Finals run, right? The Lakers, who were a 1 seed because they were so dominant, they knocked off the Kings in the first round, right? That Kings team, they had some players on that team. Second round, knocked off the 5th seeded Suns, who had gotten past San Antonio. And you know San Antonio back in 2000 were a monster, right? So that was a good Suns team. Beat the Blazers. That game went 7. Then they beat the Pacers, right? Not an easy walk to get there, right? And it never is. But when you're that dominant, it's somewhat easy. But all I got to say is...
But the only team out of that you named was San Antonio that won championship. That's the only team.
Because every team can't... Think about it. If the Lakers lose... to Indiana don't have a championship. It just so happened that they took the championships, right? They took them in that era.
Took who? LA?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, look, we talking about Detroit won 2 championships, and the only reason Detroit didn't three-peat is because Zeke threw that ball away. Ain't that right over there, Detroiter? Right? Okay, now see, I got some help on this here now. Don't think I ain't got somebody from Detroit there. They gonna back it up. They gonna back that up. Okay, Boston in that era won 3 championships.
Not three-peated.
I said won 3 championships.
Okay, so they also don't have a duo that did what my duo did. But continue.
No, but you also got Philadelphia who snuck in there, and I don't know who else really right off the bat. But we talking about a time.
So you're saying you will concede that my duo had the best championship run, right? Now
No,
your
I don't think that.
your duo I think might have won 3 and 4 years, but they didn't three-peat.
Because the competition was there, man.
No. First of all,
I'm not gonna deny.
in the Showtime era, who were the tough teams in the West?
Huh?
In the Showtime era, who were the tough teams in the West?
I think you had Seattle.
So with Peyton and Kemp?
Yeah.
No, they were later.
They had Seattle still was kind of tough. They had the Shrimp. They had pretty good teams back.
Oh Lord, I need a Bernie Mac button on my sound machine. Oh Lord, because you can't even name somebody from the team. Huh? You can't even name who they went up against.
Portland was in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I think they were pretty good in there. But what I'm saying is, you name what? The only name in the East who was good in the East back
in the East or in the West?
In the 2000, name
in the West, you had the Kings were solid.
We talking about the East right now. For them to win the championship, 3-peat in the championship.
Indiana were tough.
No.
The Nets had a good run that year. The Nets were a Cinderella story, although they got swept.
You know what? You can always pick a team that had a good run.
You asking me who they went up against?
But what I'm saying is they got no championships.
And
the people you named,
okay,
no
but they beat my GOAT.
Huh?
They beat Allen Iverson. They beat that team.
Okay. And what
he should have had a championship. There's a lot of should have had a championship, but the reason the teams they face don't have championships is because they took their championship, Dad.
Huh?
That's why. That's why they don't have no chips, because Shaq and Kobe was like, listen, they mine. They ours.
I'm not going to deny that they the second best duo, though. I'm gonna give you that because that was my second best duo. But I can't give them the first because LA went up against champions. They played champions.
It was only 2 teams back then.
Kevin,
It's 2.5 teams.
No.
You had the Lakers, the Celtics, and you had the Pistons, man.
The Sixers got a championship in there.
Like, sure, but that's like my Nets. Like, they had a run. They were solid in the East, but the West wasn't. They weren't gangbanging out West back in the 80s.
The East was solid for years. The East was solid for years. Don't you know that?
Man. Years. Yeah, I know, but that's one team. I'm talking about when you gotta kind of run through a gauntlet through the West. Like, they didn't have to go up against C-Webb and that crew. They didn't have to go up against a team like that.
Okay.
They didn't have to go up against those dogs.
What did C-Webb win?
Nothing, because he had to go against Shaq and Kobe, Dad. Yeah, everybody can't win a championship.
Okay.
It's only a small group of guys that are champions. When you look at the landscape, if you look at the whole list of people that have played in the NBA, only a small percentage have rings. And I'm telling you, and my guys were together, 7 years or so? 4, then they won 3. Yeah, they were together like 7 years. They won 3 rings straight.
Okay.
In that run. Okay. So if you just look at that, like, let's just say the average NBA career, let's just say the average prime of a superstar is 10 years. They took 3 from folks themselves. They said, give me that.
Now, I'm going to say, to me,
without another Hall of Famer on their team.
I'm going to give, but you know what? Magic made people great, man.
And that's my next thing.
Magic made people great.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Who did he make great, Dad? Because I'm starting to think that had Magic not found his way in L.A., a market that attracts other great players, if Magic didn't find himself in L.A., where you're able to attract free agents and talent, I don't know how good Magic would have been. I'm just saying he still would have been great, still would have been a superstar. But I don't know if the narrative around him being the greatest point guard of all time would have been the same if he didn't have other great players around him. You got guys like Allen Iverson who had nothing around him. Nothing. And made it to the finals. I'm not sure a 6'10 point guard, as transcendent as that is, I'm not sure he would have been able to do the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Can I get an amen?
Okay, let me give you something else. Here. See, one thing back in the 80s, people didn't go to play with their friends. People, no.
How is that relevant in this conversation?
How is relevant?
Yeah, how is that relevant?
Because some people, no, I'm not saying Kobe. Kobe stayed. See, Kobe stayed. Shaq left. You gotta say, one of your duels left.
Left where?
Left LA.
They had to ship them off. They were fighting. Which is my last point, but I'll get to that in a second. Ain't nobody running this. This not the LeBron scenario. You can't even pull that card on this.
What I just said to you is big.
I know.
See, you're not.
You brought up something irrelevant to this conversation. So I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna be quiet. Put my mic on mute.
Because the time was this is what I'm saying. The league was full of good teams. It wasn't one team that could just dominate because you had like Boston, you had McHale, you had Bird,
but that
like you had Detroit and the Zeke. Really, I looked on what you call them. I can't say Isaiah had a duel. Zeke didn't have a duel. He had a team. Detroit had a team, not a duel.
Okay.
So don't even try to say he had a duel.
Okay.
And they almost three-peat. Without a duel.
Okay.
So you know what?
And who were they beating back then, Dad?
Let me tell you.
Who were they beating back then in those championships?
Zeke beat Chicago.
Okay. I'm saying who did they beat in the finals?
He beat Boston in the finals.
Who did he beat in the finals?
He beat Boston in the finals.
No, they in the same conference, Dad. That's not the finals. That's the conference finals.
They beat LA in the finals.
Who was running that LA team back then?
Huh?
Who was running that LA team back then?
That when Magic was there.
Oh, so he beat Magic?
And Kareem.
He beat Magic.
Okay, so let's say now
it's not looking good.
No, what I'm gonna say is the Zeke and you were talking about he was a duel by himself. Well, he was something by himself. Pistons team. What? Go ahead, say it.
He didn't need a duo, but they were great together. They were great. The bad boys were the bad boys for a reason. They got a name. But think about it, Dad. You can name the bad boys. You can't name another squad from that West.
From the West.
Yeah.
Portland was good back then.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Who was on that Portland team?
Huh?
Who was on that Portland team back then?
Clyde and all them was back then.
All right. I'll give you that. That was a solid team.
Right.
That's a solid team.
Right. Let me see. It was like I'm saying. Seattle was kind of good back then too. If you look it up, they was good. The West had some teams, but the East was the power back then. The East was the power.
And I'll tell you this, that if you go based off of winning percentage and playoff winning percentage, your guys got my guys beat. But when it comes to getting it done, maybe it took us a couple extra games here and there. But when it came to getting it done to do that three-peat, and then when you talk about not having another Hall of Famer on your team, when you talk about having the one guy out of the four that we're talking about that was able to win by himself, hands down. And then you're thinking about the one guy that was the most dominant player to ever play in the NBA, hands down, Shaq and Kobe, best duo ever. And they are underrated. Let me just finish with this, and then the floor is yours. Shaq and Kobe are underrated because we still don't know what their full potential had been had the egos and all the drama not gotten in the way. They might have actually won, I'm not going to say 6 straight, but I think they might have won 4 straight, dropped one, came back, won another one. Okay. I think that's possible.
See, you know what? You gave me a lot of maybes and a lot of ifs.
I gave you some definites too, though.
You gave me a lot of maybes.
I gave you some definite. I gave you a fact. They the best duo of all time. No, I gave you that fact.
That's not a fact. It's proven the greatest duo. The greatest duo is proven. Oh, but let me ask you a question. In Shaq and Kobe run, tell me some more duos that they went up against.
It doesn't matter. Duos that they went up against. They went up against tough teams. They went up against some tough teams. Like I told you. Sacktown was tough.
Who?
That Nets team was tough. Sixers were tough.
The only team that you gave me, what? Give me another championship team.
San Antonio was out in the West during that time.
Okay, I say San Antonio. I said you give me one team. Give me another one.
So let's check this out. Because you got to think about it. Late 90s, why don't folks have championships in the 90s? Who won all the championships in the 90s?
Is that Chicago time?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So, of course, no one that Shaq and Kobe were running against. Hold on, let me finish. Go ahead. Shaq and Kobe won in year 2000, right?
Huh?
They won in the year 2000. That was their first championship. The reason no one that they faced in 2000, 2001, and 2002 had championships is because this. In the 90s, Chicago dominated. They won 6 out of 10. The other 2 went to Olajuwon, right?
So, yeah, but...
So then in the 2000s, no one had them because Shaq and Kobe won them.
Okay, but you know what? Let's look at this. Let me see something. When Shaq and Kobe, what year did they start playing together?
97, I want to say. 90. They won in 2000, so that first season was 99. So 99, 98, 97, 96? 96?
No. That's the year that Kobe came in the league, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Shaq was there, 96.
Okay. So it took them
4 years to win a title.
They won it in 2000 when they beat the Sixers. It took them 4 years.
Yeah.
It took them 4 years. And you know what?
Actually, they won it in their 4th year, yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of make it and spin that to be like, after 3 seasons, they lost the first 3 and then won.
So the dominant that Shaq was, he had to wait till Kobe really...
Kareem had to wait.
Kareem
had to wait for Magic to get there in the first place.
Okay, he had to wait till he got there, but once
Shaq had to wait for baby Kobe to blossom. And look at it. The Mamba that we know today wasn't even the Mamba that 8 and 24 are close. I'll give you that.
You know what?
But there was still a lot more Mamba murders to be done on Kobe's watch. But we gotta get ready to move on. I got one more thing for you though.
What's that?
To go along with that Showtime supporting cast.
What?
Y'all had Michael Cooper, who was the 87 Defensive Player of the Year. Y'all had help.
but he was part of Showtime. You know what? Hold on.
It took Showtime to win, but I'm saying Shaq and Kobe won. Showtime won the championship, but Shaq and Kobe won that championship. Shaq and Kobe three-peated. That's all I got to say.
But you know what? They had people around them.
Yeah, but they didn't have nobody like Showtime had.
Magic made Showtime. Magic came in. You know what? Let me ask you one question, and then you can say this. Before Magic came to the Lakers, were they called Showtime? Was any Showtime in the NBA really then?
No, Magic brought his personality to the game.
But that was Showtime. His personality was Showtime.
Okay.
His Showtime made it Showtime.
Okay, but who made Staples?
Who?
Staples.
But LA was Magic.
All right.
Back in that time, it was Magic. And what? Kareem was already established.
Okay. All right.
Like Shaq. When Shaq was in Orlando, Shaq was kind of dominant then.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Right.
So he was established too.
But what I'm saying is, when Magic wasn't even established in the NBA. Showtime.
He came in and did it.
Showtime wasn't even established. Kareem was already there, but it wasn't no Showtime.
Okay, so Showtime came when Magic got there, had the the flash and glamour with his game, but end of the day, my guys were able to win 3 straight. Most dominant player of all time. Didn't have as much help as your guys had. And I have the guy who won 1 by him or won 2 by himself.
But
so I'll let you have the last word because I think our folks know at home who has the better duo. But floor is yours.
But I don't know how you're going to say that they had a better duo. But I
just told you how.
I'm getting ready to say this. Here we go again. And this is the last thing. Them did not have to go against the bad boys who won 2 championships and then almost three-peated. They almost three-peated. If it wasn't for a freak turnover that cost Detroit a game. Okay, Boston won 3 championships in that era. The Sixers won, with Boston being, these were dominant teams or great teams that they went up against and played in the championship. You can't say that against the Lakers. Who did the Lakers three-peat against? And I'm going to give you the last word. Who did they three-peat against?
Sixers, Nets, Pacers.
Okay.
They beat one of the greatest, at the time, arguably the greatest shooter of all time, and Reggie Miller.
But let me say something. None of them
They beat Allen Iverson, who was a GOAT.
Hold up. Here goes my point.
The reason, go ahead, say your point, because I already debunked that, Dad.
My point right here is, they didn't beat no champions. They didn't go against no champions in that three-peat.
Because they are the champions.
But hold up.
If the Lakers don't go to the finals, some of those guys probably win championships. But go ahead. I'm going to let you have the last word.
What I'm saying is, they played champions in the championship. They lost to a team that was champions. LA beat teams that wasn't a champion. You know what? Let me see.
You can't act like those teams weren't good.
The Sixers in that era, Sixers didn't win no championship.
All right.
Indiana didn't win no championship. And what was the other team?
The Nets. Jason Kidd.
The Nets didn't win no championship.
But
Nets didn't win no championship.
But Dad, I told you why no other team had championships during that run, and I'm not gonna repeat myself, but it is what it is.
Yeah, right.
So
you can't make them the greatest duo.
My guys are 1A, your guys can be 1B, but it's up to you. Yeah. No Stopping Kev community. It's up to you to let us know in the comments. DM us on IG. Comment under the post for this episode who you think is the better duo. Or if you have a duo that you think tops our duo, let us know. But what time is it now? It is time for our women's basketball highlight of the week. All right, so Dad, there are a lot of things I could have picked for this. But I was doing some research because I've thought about why this was the way it was. But do you know why the NBA has the orange and oatmeal color ball?
No, I don't.
So, it's actually a decision made by David Stern. So, it was a marketing move. They wanted the ball to stand out in stores, on shelves. So, how to set that ball apart from other balls that we were used to? Change the color. Because the orange and oatmeal is vibrant, right? Kind of grabs your eye when you see it, right? So, that's what it was. And they wanted the ball to stand out. It was a marketing move. And that's why, to this day, the WNBA ball is different. So, there's your fun fact for today. And I thought about something else, right? Because that ball is different. You don't see it everywhere. I almost wish, and I guess it would be counterproductive now that I say it, it's kind of stupid, but I'll say it anyway. I'll just change it a little bit. If I ever was able to get like a Wilson sponsorship or something, I would ask them to make me a men's size ball that was the WNBA design. I would like to play with it. It's cool. I would think it'd be cool. Right? Devin, from a woman's perspective, any thoughts on that? A men's size WNBA ball. I know it kind of goes against why they got it, but I'd be cool. It'd be cool playing with that, right? In men's leagues, it's like showing support. Yeah. We might gotta put this out there. We know anybody at Wilson? They be commenting on our stuff. When I tag them, they comment. So maybe I need to put that out there, and I just need them to send me one. They don't even gotta give me royalties and none of that. Just send me one. Maybe give me some royalties. I need to call my attorney, but we got to get ready to get out of here. But, thanks for a good episode today, man. And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of a great podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And, because, we definitely enjoyed creating it. And be sure to comment on social media. Again, it's at the NoStoppingKev Show. And let us know who you think the best duo is. And, until next time, peace.